Canelo, you a bitch. I'm putting it out there.
Oh, look at this guy.
Canelo, you a bitch. I'm putting it out there.
Oh, look at Bebo.
Canelo, you a bitch. I'm
Look
putting it
at
out
him
there.
go. Oh, my word, Bebo.
Horrible fighter.
Landed by Canelo. Oh, look at Bebo.
Oh, look at this guy.
Look at him go. Oh, my word,
Horrible
Bebo.
fighter. I know that.
He called me a horrible fighter, but he just got beat by like a basic foundation.
Got him.
So what do I do, YouTube? It's your boy King David in this thing, and I'm back at y'all again with another video. So before I get going on the video, man, y'all know what to do. Go ahead, hit the like button, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe one time for your boy, so we can continue to grow like we need to grow on this channel. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I know that.
So y'all see what the title of the video is, man? The reason no one should care about Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G. You know what I mean? Alright, so cool. This video is gonna be compiled of facts on why I believe that no one should care about Triple G versus Canelo. But before I even go into that, right? Let me make sure y'all school y'all on why I don't give a shit about it, right? Because the reason I don't care about it, I don't know that should be the reason that y'all shouldn't care about it, you know what I mean? I mean, you can take that into consideration, you know what I'm saying? But the reason I don't care about it is a little different, right? The reason I don't care about Triple G versus Canelo is because
Canelo, you a bitch.
honestly and truly, man, I didn't care about the first fight. You know what I mean? I didn't even watch the first fight. I'm gonna keep it a bean with y'all. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the first fight, and I didn't even watch the second fight. I caught the highlights, y'all. That's right, your boy King David is confessing right here and now. I didn't even watch the first two fights because I didn't care enough about the fights in order to watch them.
Oh, look at this guy.
You know what I mean? And the reason I didn't care about those fights was,
Canelo, you a bitch.
if you recall correctly, at the time Triple G was gonna fight Canelo, Triple G was the guy at middleweight, granted, but there was a lot of backstory behind this whole situation between Triple G and Canelo, where there were other fights on the table that should have been made as opposed to that fight being made.
Payday. You want payday.
Which is a similar situation to what we got right now for Canelo versus Triple G 3. You see, at the time, Triple G had 3 of the 4 major belts. He had the WBC, WBA, IBF belt, right? And the only belt left to get was the WBO, right? Which sounds very familiar. The WBO seems to be always the belt that's left out of the equation, right? But the only other belt to get was the WBO, in which case Billy Joe Saunders was actually the champion at the time, right? And it actually turns out that Billy Joe Saunders wanted the fight with Triple G.
Eating enough dog meat now. Golovkin, you keep saying you want my WBO belt when I was 14 stone out of shape and wasn't in love with boxing. Then you wanted to fight me. Fight me now. Now fight me. We'll see a different story because you'll be punching fresh air.
Alright, so that was actually a viable fight that could have been made between Triple G and Billy Joe Saunders. And I get it. There was a lot of little politics there and things like that. I think Billy Joe ducked Triple G at first, and then, you know what I mean, and then Triple G, and then afterwards wanted to fight him. Like, it was a lot of little shit going on around here, right?
Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter.
But all in all, Triple G didn't really make much of an attempt to try to get that belt from Billy Joe Saunders. Cool, granted, fine. He decided to go the Canelo Alvarez route.
Payday, you want payday. I know that.
But if you look at Canelo Alvarez and what was going on with his situation, this was the time in Canelo's career where he was going up and down in weight, right? He was messing around with Canelo weights, all these different catch weights and things like that, right? He was at 154. If you recall, he beat Miguel Cotto, and I'm going to put the resume up on here. He had actually beat Miguel Cotto, right? Then fought Amir Khan, right? went down 40 James Kirkland. You know what I'm saying? Then he ended up fighting Julio Cesar Chavez at 160. Like, he was just moving up and down and weight and all this old bullshit, right? So it was a bunch of little salt in the game around that time, right? Meanwhile, one of the major things that he did was he ended up fighting Liam Smith for Demetrius Andrade's belt.
Canelo, you a bitch. I'm putting it out there.
So once he got stripped, Liam Smith picked up the belt and Canelo fought him for that WBO belt. So he was actually holding Miguel Cotto's WBC belt at 160 pounds, and then he was holding Demetrius Andrade's WBO belt at 154 pounds, right? All in all, though, what I want y'all to understand is that there were several fights that could have been made between both Triple G and Canelo Alvarez, more so on the Canelo Alvarez front, right?
I know that.
Could have fought Jamel Charlo, could have fought Jamal Charlo, could have fought Demetrius Andrade. Any of those fights would have been fine. Could have gave Lara a rematch, you know what I mean? Like, so many fights for Canelo to make, but he's going up to 160 to fight Triple G, in which case Triple G, he could have fought Billy Joe Saunders and became undisputed at the time. Really. So with all that going on, man, it just wasn't the fight that I wanted to see. Therefore, I didn't give a shit about it. You know what I mean? I didn't give a shit about that fight, fam. Because there were so many other fights that should have been made between both Canelo and Triple G. Cool, right? So, didn't care about the first fight. Fast forward, didn't care about the second fight. You know what I'm saying? Both lame to me.
Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter.
And then here we are at the third fight. And we got Triple G and we got Canelo. And we got them fighting under the lamest circumstances that you could possibly think of, right? You got Triple G, who's now 40 years old. Granddaddy age, right?
Man, sit your ass down.
A 40-year-old Triple G fighting a Canelo Alvarez coming off of a loss from a Dimitri Bivol, right? Which is lame as shit to me. I mean, it's a recipe for a nothing burger of a fucking fight, right? So that's how I feel about this shit, right?
He called me a horrible fighter, but he just got beat by like a basic foundation.
But there's more to the story, right? Because there are some legitimate reasons why y'all shouldn't care about Triple G versus Canelo, right? But before I get into that, I want to go ahead and I want to give y'all the poll that I did the other day, right? Because I actually did a poll maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. I put up a poll on my channel where I wanted to ask the people out there in the highways and the byways how they felt about a Triple G versus Canelo fight, right?
I know that.
So if you pay attention to the screen, this is what y'all felt about a Triple G versus Canelo fight, right?
Canelo, you a bitch. I'm putting it out there.
Okay, so you can see by the poll, only 17% of y'all actually give a fuck about this fight, right?
Got him!
Okay, and y'all can see, I got 492 people voted on this goddamn poll. And only 17% of y'all said, yes, it's a big fight. So that means the other, I don't know, what is it? 80% of y'all? 83% of y'all? Actually, the other 83% of everybody who voted gives no shits about this Canelo Alvarez fight. Okay? 48% of y'all say he ducking Bivol, right? Because if we being honest here, we know Canelo could have went after the second Bivol fight. He didn't have, I mean, they had an automatic rematch clause. He could have fought Bivol.
Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter.
Okay, so 48% of y'all say he ducking Bivol, which you're right about that. But the other 35% of y'all say I don't care either way. So y'all are kind of like me. You feel me? I could care less about a Canelo Triple G 1, 2, and damn sure don't give a fuck about 3. You know what I mean? So that's what's going on here, man. I don't give a fuck about it, but it's not just me. The people have spoken, and the people don't give a fuck about it either, right? The only people who are gonna buy this fight or gonna care about this fight even the least are gonna be extreme Canelo Alvarez fanboys, in my opinion.
I know that.
You know what I mean? Nevertheless, I'm about to give y'all 3 reasons why nobody should give a fuck about Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G 2. Now, before we even get into that, though, right? There was an article that was released by Boxing Scene, and y'all could check out the article. The article says, Eddie Hearn says, Canelo versus Triple G3 is 10 times bigger than a Spence versus Crawford fight. Now, I understand that Eddie Hearn is the promoter of Canelo Alvarez right now and Triple G. I mean, they're both, I believe, affiliates of DAZN, so I believe that it is a, in-house fight as it stands right now, right? So DAZN gets to pocket all the money that is to be made off of this fight, right? But let's call cap when we see it. Ain't no way in hell that this fight is even a fraction of how big an Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford should be, right? And the facts are the facts, right? Because the fact of the matter is, this bullshit fight is probably still gonna do better numbers than an Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight, right? As shitty as this fight is right now for boxing, as fucked up as it is, it's still more than likely gonna do better than an Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight, right? And that's the kind of thing that us as boxing fans need to change. We need to change how we spend our money. We need to change the way we go about trying to make fights happen with our money. You know what I mean? Nevertheless, though, I'm about to give y'all 3 reasons why no one should give a shit about Triple G versus Canelo, right? Okay, so cool. Now that we got all that out the way, right? The first reason nobody should give a shit about Triple G versus Canelo is for this, right? Canelo Alvarez is supposed to be this dude who's supposed to be all about legacy. I want to be legacy. I want to fight Makabu because it's legacy, right? Those are the words that he likes to say. Legacy. He likes to throw around the legacy words, right? Canelo, along with a lot of Canelo Alvarez fanboys, you like to make it seem like Canelo's all about legacy, but at the end, if he was all about legacy, what's the reason for fighting Triple G in a third fight?
Payday. You want payday. I know that.
What's the reason for getting in the ring with a 40-year-old guy who's a 160-pounder? What's the reason for it? What legacy are you creating with that fight? You know what I mean? There's no legacy there. There's no legacy that will ever be there. Not with a third fight at all. 2, why no one should give a shit about this fight. Both Triple G and Canelo are holding the belts hostage. Why the fuck should we give a shit about a fight that proves nothing for either guy in either weight class, right? Canelo Alvarez still has guys at 168 pounds at that weight who deserve an opportunity to get in the ring with him. And he owes it to us as boxing fans to prove that he's the best at that weight class. 1. 2, Triple G is only the unified champion at 160 pounds. He's holding those belts hostage. He's moving up to 168, knowing full well that there are 2 other guys in the weight division that he should be getting in the ring with before Canelo Alvarez in order to become the undisputed champion at that weight class. So we got 2 guys holding up to their respective divisions and holding the belts fucking hostage. Right? And then 3 piggybacks off of 2. There are better fights out there for both of these guys. Canelo Alvarez should be at very least fighting a Jamal Charlo or Demetrius Andrade or David Benavidez or even Bivol in a rematch.
I know that.
Right? Those were all much better fights than this third Triple G fight, because let's face it, we've yet to see Canelo in the ring with any of those guys aside from Bivol. So even if those guys were to move up to 168 to fight Canelo, at least it would be a different fight. Canelo would still be at the advantage, but at least it would be something different. Why fight a guy you fought 2 times already? And then the other part of that is Triple G. Triple G also has Andrade. Triple G also has Charlo. Y'all don't think that it's a coincidence with these guys shutting out Andrade and Charlo out of the mix? Y'all think that it's just, oh, they just love each other. Canelo and Triple G just love each other, and they're, you know, they think so highly of each other because, so that's why they want to fight each other? No. They want to fight each other because they know they can't beat the other two guys in the division. They know that they would lose to Andrade and Charlo. So because they know that, they rather fight each other because each other is the least risky fight that they have available.
Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter.
So that's all there is to it, man. I ain't about to make this no long ass goddamn video, man. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. You know what I mean? But just to recap, fam. I don't give a shit about Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G3. And y'all shouldn't give a shit about Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez 3, right? But let me know what y'all think, man. Hit it up in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. And everybody, and I do mean everybody, be sure to hit that goddamn like button. But until next time, I'm gonna holla at y'all. Peace.
Powerful fighter, but he just got beat by like a basic foundation.